Hello, we're the Century Tower Skydivers. Our team is made of Jordan, Skanda, William, and myself, Robert. Next slide, please.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna go through the mirror board for problem identification and target users. In our interviews, we saw that people in general were, when they first got into UF, were having a hard time looking for clubs. They didn't know what clubs would be best suited for them, be it for either academic or like social purposes. So yeah, we were identifying a lot of problems in the social sphere, people not finding friends, et cetera, within the first years. So our target user population, I mean, we're all computer science students. So we were looking primarily first year UF students, either if they're in state, out of state, it didn't really matter. We are just looking for first year students, um, sort of within that computer science sphere. Next slide, please. So this is more where that computer science thing comes from. As you can see, we made three personas, but here we're highlighting two. On the left, you see Greg. Um, we base this off sort of from our first year. Greg is a freshman, wants to make friends, a computer science student, yada, yada, yada. And then here we have Martina, who is a um, international graduate student from Mexico, first year at UF. So here's where we're really broadening our user personas. First first year from first year in UF, and is trying to find clubs, trying to make new friends, trying to open herself up socially. Next slide, please.
All right. And then here is just one of these scenarios and storyboards we made based on one of our user personas. This one is for Greg. So yeah, as Robert talked about a little bit, Greg is an undergraduate freshman, and in this scenario, he reads about an email about UF launching the GCF or Gator Club Finder. And so yeah, based on that scenario, he checks into that email, starts using GCF to find some clubs, and then based on that, he's able to find a club where he can explore his interests and make friends with them. And then here our is one example of our user flow and low fidelity prototypes. So for this one, our task that we represented in this user flow is to get club recommendations. So drawing out how this would work would be as you open GCF, you're on the home screen, and then you have either the option to take the quiz basically as a button there. If you don't click it, then that's the end of that path, obviously, and you won't end up getting any recommendations. If you do, you'll go into your quiz screen and answer several different questions. And then once you get to the end, it'll display your results. And you have the option to either retake the quiz, which will take you back to that option, or just get your recommendations. And then here is the low fidelity prototype for that task. So starting on the home screen there, all the way on the left. And then once you click take a quiz, you go into the quiz screen there and answer some questions. After that, you get your club recommendations and you can either retake or just start exploring those clubs from there.
Okay. So for our high fidelity prototype, okay, so here we go. This is the home screen that Jordan was just referring to. So up in the top, you have your nav bar where you're gonna have your home button and your profile button. And then here is your area where you're gonna take the quiz. So we'll just do that right now. And so it will ask you a question just like this, and you'll be able to select an answer. And then once you go through some amount of questions, you'll be given your results. And then through your results, you'll be able to find like, oh, get more information about this club and favorite it. And you can see that you favorited it now. And then it'll give you information about that club and when the upcoming meetings are. Um, and so then following back to the home page, we have filters for the calendar right here. So once you filter it, it'll change what upcoming events you'll see. And you can also just go to the general calendar where you'll be able to scroll through all the events. And then finally, you can come to your profile where you can see like all the clubs that you've had favorited. And you can change things about the apps through the settings. So one of the things that we got like feedback on was the colors. And so we made a theme option and other things like that. So that is the high fidelity prototype. And yeah.
Yeah, so for our user feedback, through each iteration, we were able to collect really valuable information and user input on how to update and improve our project. So starting with like, I guess, the user needs and scenarios and storyboards, we improved by demonstrating, we improved our functionality of our storyboards by trying to demonstrate the actual functionality of the app instead of just showing that a certain persona would use it. And we tried to update our user needs statements after interviewing people because they had said that we could specify a little more detail on demographics and why the application could be important to them. In terms of the user flow and low fidelity design, um, our interviewees uh had said that they wanted to see more like cycles in our user flows to get back to our home screen, which we recorded, and they wanted a cleaner design to go from page to page to make it seem less complex and more visually appealing. And then finally for our high fidelity prototype, we had feedback on trying to, as William said, change the color scheming and maybe potentially revitalizing profile screens or settings features, and then rearranging elements, primarily focusing on a navigation bar with like buttons and like a back button, etc. And our overall application, it started off with just the idea of the quiz, but through user feedback, we were ultimately uh, able to implement other features such as the calendar and club information page.
Thank you for watching our presentation, and yeah, I think that's it. We're done.